Good afternoon, respected Chairperson, friends and colleagues. Thanks Diabetes India for this opportunity. I am here to discuss about the role of chromium in the management of type 2 diabetes mellitus. Role of chromium in glucose metabolism has been emphasized as early as 1955, the year when the Imperial Bank of India, the oldest and largest commercial bank of India, was transformed into State Bank of India, the year when the first Guinness World Book of Records was published, and the year when first Disneyland opened in California. Chromium in glucose metabolism has been emphasized with the identification of glucose tolerance factor GTF, whose primary constituent is trivalent chromium. The research started long time back. The first paper appeared way back in 1965, which stated that a syndrome simulating the disturbed glucose metabolism in adult diabetics as manifested by elevated fasting plasma glucose and glycosuria can be produced in rats by dietary chromium deficiency. We Indians are different. We have shorter height, we have lower body mass index, we have excessive body fat in relation to BMI, we have abdominal adiposity, high waist to hip ratio. Coming to the basics of development and progression of type 2 diabetes, we know that by the time diabetes is diagnosed, 50% of beta cell mass has already been knocked off. The insulin resistance keeps on increasing and insulin secretion keeps on increasing, and once the diabetes develops, the insulin secretion starts decreasing. Type 2 diabetes is just a tip of an iceberg. Way back, long time before the diabetes manifests, it's the insulin resistance which is the culprit, which leads to hyperinsulinemia, acidogenesis, and this leads to a stage of impaired glucose tolerance, increased postprandial blood glucose level, increased are the major risk factors that contribute to the development of CVD in diabetes. So as to take care of insulin resistance, we have insulin sensitizer, the bidonides, the thiazolidinediones, which take care of the core problem in type 2 diabetes, the insulin resistance. But besides this medication, besides food, besides exercise, we have the fourth dimension, which is the medicinal food and which is called the nutraceuticals. These nutraceuticals, they support the blood sugar level, they significantly reduce the amount of medication. Various nutraceuticals are used in diabetes control. They are insulin secretagogues like ALA, DHA, flavonoids. Then we have carbohydrate blockers like psyllium, guar gum, white beans, and then insulin sensitizer, chromium being one of the most important. But there are various drawbacks of these conventional and non-standardized nutraceuticals because of inconsistent quality, insufficient clinical data, and unpredictable results. So what is the importance of chromium? It is an essential nutrient that functions in carbohydrate, lipid, and nucleic acid metabolism. Subclinical chromium deficiency may contribute to insulin resistance and CVD, particularly in aging and diabetic population. Insulin can do its job without chromium, but when chromium exists in ample quantity, insulin works much more effectively. A very appropriate name for the problem insulin resistance is insulin impotence. Impotence, we know, is defined as inability to act. So insulin resistance may be a consequence of chromium deficiency and is aggravated by typical Indian diet. Chromium possibly influences the glucose metabolism by helping in binding of insulin to its receptor, thus potentiating its effect. A substance isolated from pork kidney in 1957 was given the name of glucose tolerance factor, which is believed to be a complex of trivalent chromium with nicotinic acid and amino acid. This glucose tolerance factor helps insulin to transport glucose into the cells. It exists naturally in our body structure, particularly liver and kidney. It is a compound made up of trivalent chromium vitamins, works closely associated with insulin and activates the insulin receptors to allow glucose to be delivered into our body cells and maintain a normal blood sugar level. Lower chromium levels are seen in obese and in diabetic individuals. Increased consumption of highly processed food leads to decreased chromium consumption. more urinary loss of chromium, and this leads to depletion of chromium stores and increased incidence of diabetes and atherosclerosis. Important thing is that absorption of chromium is inversely related to dietary intake. More dietary intake, more other losses. Increased dietary intake leads to, because of even supplemental chromium, leads to increased chromium excretion. We Indians are deficient in chromium. Lower levels are seen in Indian diabetics and lower levels are seen even in gestational diabetics. Western population demonstrate negative results with chromium supplementation and are chromium sufficient, whereas Asians who tend to be chromium deficient. No particular food group can be singled out as a good source of chromium. Dietary products are deficient, dairy products are deficient, meat, poultry and fish are a little better, but grains, fruits and vegetables also don't have much more than few micrograms per serving. Chromium can be made acceptable to living cells when it is attached to a special substance called chelators, which play an important role in delivering chromium to the place where it is required. Chromium supplements do not always work, and chromium needs to be smuggled inside with chelation, and these chelators are in two forms. It could be a picolinate or it could be a nicotinate. Why chromium picolinates are not preferred? It is because it reacts with antioxidants in the cell to produce the reduced form of chromium capable of causing mutation in DNA, and this causes chromosomal damage. Chromium nicotinate or chromium dinacosysteinate is a complex of trivalent chromium, L-cysteine and niacin. It proves to be the most effective chromium complex in decreasing fasting blood glucose, HbA1c, insulin level and vascular inflammation. Coming to the role of niacin and L-cysteine, niacin reduces triglyceride in the level, it decreases vascular inflammation, brings down TNF-alpha level, whereas L-cysteine primarily acts as an antioxidant and maintains healthy glutathione level. It reduces the oxidative stress and brings down protein carbonyl, the oxidative stress marker in the body. There is enough published strength of evidence about chromium. In fact, over the last 50 years, more than one paper per month is being published about chromium. And the strength of evidence for the role of chromium is the diabetes is moving gradually to a higher level. Various clinical studies have been done using chromium chloride, chromium nitride, chromium picolinate, chromium dinacosysteinate. But how does chromium help in diabetes? In one other paper published from India in 2003 about the effect of chromium and zinc on insulin signals in skeletal muscle cells stated that patients on TPN without chromium supplementation develop symptoms very similar to those of diabetes. Chromium has been postulated to have insulin mimetic activity as chromium enhances the insulin stimulated phosphorylation. A study conducted in Calcutta on 150 diabetic patients said it proved that all those patients who were there on oral hypoglycemic agents and had chromium supplementation, they had a lower fasting blood glucose, lower postprandial glucose, lower HbA1c. Several well-designed clinical trials have provided evidence in favor as well as against the beneficial effect of chromium. Patient selection plays a very important role in determining the clinical response. Clinical response to chromium may be more likely in insulin-resistant individuals with type 2 diabetes who have more elevated fasting glucose and elevated HbA1c level. One other paper published from Chennai by Dr. Sundara Raman said that the chromium level in Indian diabetic patients GDM was lower. What is the effect of chromium supplementation on biomarkers in type 2 diabetes? In one of the studies which compared directly chromium picolinate and chromium dinacosysteinate, it was seen that the fall in blood glucose level was significant there with dinacosysteinate and not with picolinate. Now coming to the body's metabolic markers. What are those? A biomarker is a measurable characteristic that reflects the severity or presence of some disease state. The biomarkers for diabetes are TNF-alpha, which is an insulin resistance biomarker, and protein carbonyl, which is an oxidative stress biomarker. Visceral adiposity, so common in India, is a risk factor for insulin resistance, metabolic syndrome and type 2 diabetes. TNF-alpha is expressed in adipose tissue with visceral fat responsible with more TNF-alpha production than subcutaneous fashion. TNF-alpha may play a very crucial role in systemic insulin resistance of type 2 diabetics. Uncontrolled hyperglycemia leads to oxidative stress, more TNF-alpha, more vascular inflammation, more insulin resistance, and thus increased incidence of CVD. The effect of many papers have been published, and the effect of chromium dinicocinamide supplementation on circulating level of TNF-alpha, oxidative stress, and insulin resistance in type 2 diabetic patients was seen, and it was seen that CDNS supplementation, chromium dinicocinamide supplementation, has the potential to lower all these. Another publication about chromium picolinate and biotin combination showed that it reduces atherogenic index of plasma in patients with type 2 diabetes. Effect of chromium on inflammatory marker, and in fact first and second phase of insulin secretion was seen, and it was seen that improves the second phase of insulin response. A very important study has shown that chromium can enhance cognitive inhibitory control and cerebral function in older adults at risk for neurodegeneration, and thus can improve the cognitive cerebral function in older patients with chromium supplementation. Effect of what happens to the insulin resistance, as was seen in this study comparing chromium picolinate and dinicocinamide, there was insulin resistance level in type 2 diabetic. They decreased with picolinate, not with picolinate, but with dinicocinamide. Similarly, TNF-alpha level decreased, and carbonyl marker and protein carbonyl marker also decreased with chromium dinicocinamide supplementation. So supplementation with chromium dinicocinamide was signified significant reduction in TNF-alpha, insulin, and HOMA resistance level over a 3-month period. Can this approach spare the pancreas? We all know that physical activity and weight loss can help people with insulin resistance or pre-diabetes in delaying or preventing type 2 diabetes. Chromium dinicocinamide supplementation appears to be helpful in elevating the insulin resistance, and thus the ability to increase insulin sensitivity may help to manage disease progression at a lower level of insulin. So this approach maybe can spare the pancreas, but these effects have been seen only with dinicocinamide. Enough evidence of chromium therapy has been published in journals of international repute like Diabetes Care and Journal of Academy of Nutritional Dietetics, and it says that even trivalent chromium should have been included in the diabetes prevention program. It is unfortunate that it has not been included. So where is the scope of chromium supplementation? Maybe the best application might be to decrease insulin resistance in pre-diabetic, in metabolic syndrome, in PCOD and diabetics. So what are the future strategies for this chromium supplementation? Currently, the research is being directed to the improvement of techniques for the detection of chromium deficiency, chromium content of the diet, and the purification and synthesis of glucose tolerance factor. But long-term studies are required to determine role of chromium dinicocinamide in elevating insulin resistance, increasing insulin sensitivity, and hence sparing the pancreas to increase the insulin production. And in fact, then it could delay or prevent the onset of diabetes in pre-diabetic population. Thank you very much.